Hey everyone, before we dive into this gut-wrenching, twist-filled story that's been clawing its way out of me, I've got a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It keeps this channel going, means everything to me, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss a moment of this. It's a journey that'll hit you hard. Let's get started. I never thought I'd be telling this story, but sometimes life takes such jagged, unexpected turns that you have to spill it all out, if only to make sense of the wreckage yourself. My name's Rachel Carter, and at 36, I've tasted more joy and heartbreak than I ever imagined possible. 2 years ago, the world I knew crumbled around me, leaving me to sift through the pieces, trying to figure out where it all went so terribly wrong. This isn't just about loss. It's about betrayal, about the family I thought I had, and the cold, hard choices I made when their true colors bled through. Let me take you back to where it began. 3 years ago, I was still married to Nathan, an architect whose designs shaped skylines from Seattle to Chicago. We met in college. He was all charisma and ambition, sketching blueprints on napkins during late-night diner runs, while I was the practical one, studying graphic design with dreams of freelancing. We built a life in Maple Grove, a quiet suburb outside Minneapolis. A 2-story house with a wraparound porch, ivy climbing the brick, and a backyard where our daughter Lily learned to toddle. Nathan's career soared. Mine simmered on the back burner as I juggled motherhood and sporadic design gigs. By 2023, the cracks showed. Late nights at his firm turned into weekends. Our conversations shrank to logistics about Lily's preschool. "We've grown apart," he said one rainy April evening, standing in our kitchen. His voice steady but distant. "It's not you, it's us." I nodded, too tired to fight, and we filed for divorce a month later. It stayed civil. No courtroom dramas, no shouting matches. Nathan's wealth smoothed the edges. He left me the house, its oak floors creaking with memories of Lily's first steps, and a downtown condo, a sleek glass box that churned out rental cash. "I want you and Lily set," he said, signing the papers. His pen scratching like a promise. The house was my anchor. Big windows flooding it with light. A backyard where Lily chased fireflies under summer stars. The condo was security. Prime real estate in a buzzing district. Tenants lining up before the ink dried. "Mommy, when's Daddy coming over?" Lily asked me almost every day, her hazel eyes. Nathan's eyes, wide with hope, her 6-year-old heart untouched by our fracture. "This weekend, sweetie," I'd say, brushing her chestnut curls. "He's taking you to the zoo, lions and all." Nathan kept his word. Every Saturday. His black SUV purred into the driveway at 9 a.m. sharp, Lily's laughter trailing them as they left. "You're doing great with her, Rach," he told me one humid August dusk, dropping her off. His tie loose after a day of monkey bars and ice cream. "I know this isn't easy, but you're holding it together better than anyone could." I forced a smile, grateful for his steadiness, though my own family mess loomed like a shadow he couldn't see. My parents divorced when I was 4. Mom remarried Phil, a gruff mechanic with a quick temper, within months. I still remember the jolt of it. A stranger at our chipped Formica table, pouring my cereal, calling himself Dad. A year later, Casey arrived, my half-sister. All blonde ringlets and piercing cries. We grew up under the same roof but worlds apart. Different fathers, different wiring. I was quiet, bookish. Casey was loud, restless, always testing Mom's frayed patience. We kept it civil but distant, like neighbors who nod but never talk. "Why don't you and Aunt Casey hang out like sisters?" Lily asked one night, her spoon nudging peas around her plate, avoiding them with expert precision. I paused, the question slicing deeper than she knew. "Sometimes sisters are just different, honey," I said, keeping it light. "Like how you don't always play with every kid in your class." She scrunched her nose, unconvinced. "But she never comes to my tea parties, or brings her kitty." "Casey's busy with her own life," I replied, sidestepping the truth. Casey resented me, always had. Dad paid my college tuition, a lifeline after high school, while Phil's unsteady jobs left Casey scraping by. Community college dropout, library clerk by 25. Her tight smiles when I got a new car, Her digs about my cushy marriage to Nathan, her disappearing act when I invited her over. They all whispered it. "Your sister's jealous," my friend Jenna said over coffee on my porch, her voice blunt as she rocked in the wicker chair. "Some people can't handle others winning." I'd wave it off, family's family, I thought. We'd fix it someday. I was so naive. Everything shifted when my grandmother, Dad's mom, passed last spring. She was a gentle soul, living in a bungalow on the outskirts of town, its shingles weathered, window boxes spilling petunias she tended with arthritic hands. Her screen door creaked the same way it did when I'd visit as a kid, lugging crayons to draw at her kitchen table. Her funeral was quiet. Family, a few neighbors, wildflowers on her casket. Then the will, she left it all to me. The house, her savings, a modest nest egg I didn't know she'd tucked away. "Grandma adored you," Dad said at the cemetery. His voice thick, eyes red as we stood on the damp grass. Those Sunday visits with Lily meant everything to her, even after the split. She'd say, "That girl's got your heart, John, steady as a rock." I swallowed a sob, watching Lily kneel by the grave, laying a clutch of daisies she'd picked from our garden that morning, her fingers smudged with dirt. "Mommy, is great-gran up with the stars now?" she asked, slipping her hand into mine, her knit cap, Grandma's last gift, slipping over one ear. "Yes, sweetie," I said, my throat tight. "Probably knitting those awful scarves and baking cookies for the angels." I was still processing the inheritance. Boxes of her old photos stacked in my garage, the faint lavender scent of her linens lingering, when Mom and Phil summoned me for an important family talk. I walked into their split level, the air heavy with tension, the smell of Mom's pot roast clashing with the unease radiating from them. She sat me down at the scratched pine table, Casey's teenage carvings still etched into it, a relic of her sullen years. "Coffee?" Mom asked, pouring my chipped blue mug before I answered, her hands trembling slightly, betraying the calm she tried to project. "We need to talk about your grandmother's house," she began, her voice sharp with that edge I'd feared since childhood, the one that meant trouble. "What about it?" I asked, curling my fingers around the mug, the heat grounding me as dread coiled in my gut. Phil leaned forward, his chair creaking under his bulk, his flannel shirt straining at the buttons. "You've got a lot now, Rachel. The house from Nathan, that fancy condo, and now this bungalow. It's a bit much, don't you think?" His tone was casual, but his eyes were hard, calculating. Mom nodded, her nails tapping the table in a staccato rhythm that grated on my nerves. "Casey's been struggling," she said, her voice sliding into that persuasive lilt she'd perfected. "That tiny apartment she rents, it's a closet, barely room to turn around. And her library job. You know it pays peanuts. She can't even afford a decent coat for winter." She paused, letting it sink in, then reached to pat my hand. I flinched back, the gesture hollow. "We thought it'd be fair if you gave her grandma's house," she pressed. "You've been so blessed, Rachel. 2 properties already, steady income. Casey's had it rough." Phil jumped in, his smile too wide, too practiced. "It's not even a valuable place, just an old shack really. You wouldn't lose much, and think how much it'd lift her up." I sat there, their words crashing over me like a wave, their audacity breathtaking. Guilt crept in. I did have more than Casey, and the bungalow wasn't a goldmine, just a sentimental heap of wood and memory. "Have you talked to her about this?" I asked, my voice tight, already sensing the answer from the quick, nervous glance they shared. "We wanted to run it by you first," Mom said too fast, smoothing her apron. "She's been down, split with that barista boyfriend Mark a few months back. She's lost right now. You'd be saving her, Ratch." I hadn't known about the breakup, or much of anything about Casey lately. Our last real talk was Easter, a stilted chat about her cat's vet bills and the snow melting late. Before that, Christmas maybe, when she'd griped about her boss over lukewarm cider. "She's been pulling away for years," I murmured to Jenna later that week, stirring tea in my kitchen as Lily napped upstairs. Jenna snorted, her dark hair falling over one eye. "She's not pulling, she's shoving. She's mad you got the golden ticket. Nathan, the house, Grandma's love. She's stewing, Ratch. I sighed, staring at the steam curling from my cup. She's still my sister. I should help, right? Jenna's gaze softened, but her voice stayed firm. You don't owe her your life, or your grief. What they didn't know, what I hadn't dared voice, was that Lily's health was unraveling. It started subtle. Bruises on her knees I couldn't explain, naps stretching longer, a pallor no sun could chase away. She'd been frail since birth. Colic as a baby, fevers that lingered, but doctors waved it off. Low iron, they'd say, or some kids are just delicate, give her time. My instinct screamed louder, a mother's quiet panic growing with every unhealed scrape. When she turned 5, the truth landed like a sledgehammer. Acute myeloid leukemia. I sat in Dr. Patel's office, Lily coloring a unicorn beside me, the walls plastered with cheerful posters that mocked the weight of his words. The tests are clear, he said, sliding a folder across his desk. His brown eyes steady but kind. It's aggressive, Rachel. We need to start chemo immediately. Possibly a transplant if we find a donor. I gripped Lily's hand, her crayons tumbling to the floor, her small oops piercing the silence. What's her shot? Asked, my voice a rasp. It's tough, he admitted, leaning forward. We'll fight like hell, but it's advanced. Her counts are lower than we'd like. The next year dissolved into a haze. Hospital corridors smelling of bleach, chemo drips beeping through sleepless nights, my body aching from vinyl chairs beside Lily's bed. Her small frame shrank under blankets, her curls falling out in clumps, replaced by a knit cap Grandma had sent. Bright yellow, too big, but she loved it. Nathan was there, divorce forgotten, pacing the halls or sitting vigil with me. Whatever she needs, he'd say, voice cracking as he watched her sleep, tubes snaking from her arms. Top specialists' trials. I'll make it happen. I was stretched thin. Freelance deadlines blurred into hospital runs, my world shrinking to Lily's fragile breaths. Jenna became my lifeline, dropping off casseroles, sitting with me when Nathan couldn't. You're a rock, Ratch, she'd say, squeezing my hand. But let me carry some of this, you're not alone. Maybe that's why I folded so fast when Mom pushed about the house. Compared to Lily's fight, it felt like nothing, a pile of shingles versus my daughter's life. I handed Casey the keys one gray afternoon, racing between Lily's blood work and a client call, my mind a fog. I'll sort the paperwork later, I mumbled, barely looking at her. Once Lily's stable. Casey squealed, throwing her arms around me. First hug in a decade, her floral perfume sharp and cloying. Oh my God, thank you, Ratch. I'm throwing the biggest housewarming next month. You and Lily have to come, promise. I nodded absently, already texting Nathan about Lily's latest fever. She'd stopped asking for zoo trips, her toys gathering dust in the corner, her light dimming. Mommy, will I feel better soon? She asked one night, her voice a whisper, eyes sunken in her pale face. You will, baby, I lied, brushing her cheek, my fingers trembling. You're my brave girl. Hope flickered briefly. She rallied on a new chemo round, her cheeks flushing pink, her appetite sparking. Can we see the ducks this weekend? She asked, spooning oatmeal in her hospital bed, a rare smile breaking through. My heart soared. Soon as you're strong enough, sweetheart, I promised, tears pricking my eyes. We'll bring Daddy, feed the whole flock. Nathan grinned from the doorway, holding a stuffed duck he'd snagged from the gift shop. Deal, kiddo. But a week later it all crashed. The hospital called at 2 a.m., yanking me from fitful sleep. Lily's fever had spiked. Routine, they'd said the day before. Mrs. Carter, come now, the nurse urged, her voice tight. She's taken a turn. I drove in a blind panic. Rain blurring the windshield, red lights I ignored, my pulse a drumbeat of terror. I stumbled into her room as doctors swarmed, machines shrieking, but their slumped shoulders told me before their words did. We did everything, Dr. Patel said, her voice breaking, hands clasped. Her body couldn't hold on. I sat by her bed for hours, holding her cold hand, the silence a deafening roar. Nathan arrived at dawn, face ashen, pulling me into his arms. Ratch, oh God, he choked, his shirt damp with my tears as we clung to each other, unmoored. Through the haze, I texted Casey, Lily died. Funeral in 3 days. Her reply, okay, pinged back, lowercase, emotionless, a gut punch. I called Mom, needing her voice, her arms, anything. Oh, Casey told us, she said, her tone distracted like she was mid-task. Listen, honey, about the funeral, we can't make it. Commitments. Commitments. I repeated, clutching the counter, the room spinning. Yeah, Casey's housewarming's that day, she said, breezy. I promised to help. It's a big deal, tons of guests. You get it, right? Rescheduling's a nightmare. My legs gave out, sliding me to the floor. Mom, this is Lily's funeral, your granddaughter's. I know, dear, it's sad, she chirped, oblivious. But life moves on. Casey's been planning this forever. I called Casey, hands shaking, voice raw. What the hell? Your party's on Lily's funeral day. Music pulsed behind her. Pop beats, carefree. That's when I planned it, she said, flat, cold. Invites are out. This is my daughter's funeral, your niece. Why should I move it? She snapped, a glass shattering in the background. It's just a funeral, she's gone, it doesn't matter to her. I'm alive and I'm celebrating. I've earned this. The phone fell, clattering on tile, and something inside me snapped, a fracture hardening into resolve. Hey, if you're feeling this already, and I know it's heavy, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and there's more heartbreak and fight coming your way. Stick with me. The funeral was a fog, black coats, hushed condolences, Nathan beside me, his hand anchoring mine as I trembled. Mom and Phil showed up for 10 minutes, awkward in bright party clothes under thin black jackets, Mom clutching a clutch that screamed celebration. We can't stay, she whispered, eyes darting away. Casey needs us, tables to set, you know. I watched them leave, numb, their car peeling out as Mom scrolled her phone, probably texting Casey about napkins. Jenna leaned in at the reception, her voice low, furious. Did you hear about Casey's party? She invited half the county. We're all boycotting, it's disgusting. We begged her to move it, but she laughed us off. I nodded, a plan igniting through the grief. The bungalow was still mine. Casey had keys, but not the title, not the law. At 6 p.m., as her party hit full swing, I made my move. First, call police. Intruders are at my property, I said, voice steady, giving the address. No permission. Second, my lawyer. Papers solid? Ironclad, he said. It's yours, no transfer filed. I pulled up as sirens wailed, the house pulsing with music, some anthem about good vibes. Through the windows, Casey twirled in a red dress, guests laughing, oblivious. I handed the cops the deed, my name stark in ink. This is mine, I said loud, the music cutting off as heads swiveled. They're trespassing. Chaos bloomed, beautiful, jagged chaos. Casey's face morphed from shock to rage as guests fled, dodging police. Her cheese platters sat abandoned, streamers drooping in the sticky air. She gave me this house. Casey shrieked, mascara streaking, jabbing a finger at me. Tell them, Mom. Mom and Phil flailed, but their words were air, no proof. Show me the deed, I said, stepping into her spotlight, voice like steel. Show me where I signed it over. She froze, empty-handed, her triumph crumbling. When the crowd cleared, Casey erupted, shoving a punch bowl to the floor, red juice splashing Grandma's rugs. You spoiled bitch, she screamed, voice raw. Always had it all. Rich ex, big house, everyone's tears. I hate you. I'm glad he dumped you, and I'm glad your kid's dead. The venom echoed, a knife in the silence. I turned to Mom, waiting for horror, but she flanked Casey, face stony. You've always been selfish, Rachel, she hissed. Thinking you're above us because you married rich, because you had a sick kid everyone pitied. Clarity hit, cold, sharp, final. 4 years I'd bankrolled them. $1 200 monthly deposits, Christmas checks, surprise gifts, a fridge for Mom, tires for Phil's truck, a cruise they bragged about, all while they propped Casey up, ignored her venom. Let me be clear, I said, voice cutting through their gasps. The money stops everything. No wires, no gifts, nothing. You're cut off. Mom blanched. You wouldn't. You picked a party over Lily's funeral, I said, unyielding. You're defending someone who cheered my daughter's death. Watch me. Phil lurched forward, red-faced. Let's not be hasty, we say things we don't mean. I mean every syllable, I shot back. Get out of my house, all of you. Don't call, don't show your faces. Ever. You can't do this. Mom wailed, the loss dawning. We're your parents. No, I said, final. Parents don't trade their granddaughter's grave for a party. You're ghosts to me. Casey snarled. This isn't over. But her eyes flickered with fear. She'd leaned on them and I'd just severed their lifeline. They stumbled out, threats fading into the night. Hey, if that twist has you reeling, and I bet it does, subscribe now. It's free, and the fallout's just beginning. Let's finish this. The next day, social media erupted. Mom's posts decrying my cruelty. Casey's tearful rants about losing her home. They omitted Lily's funeral, but truth spread like wildfire. Jenna posted, "Who throws a party on their niece's burial day? Who skips their granddaughter's goodbye to string lights? Disgraceful." Relatives and friends, there for Lily, stunned by Casey's invites, piled on. When my decade of financial support leaked, $150K over the years, the backlash sharpened. They lived off her while spitting on her grief, Mia wrote. Casey's accounts buckled under the hate. Her poor me act drowned in disgust as the story went viral. Her callous party, they're enabling my axe falling. Months later, healing inched in slow, raw. Therapy with Dr. Kim peeled back the layers. Not just Lily's loss, but the family I'd buried too. You're stronger than you know, Jenna said, bringing soup one rainy night, her kids' drawings for Lily tucked in her bag. They didn't deserve you, or her. Then neighbors called. Someone's trashing your grandma's place, windows smashing. I checked the cams. Casey, rock in hand, shattering panes, her face a mask of fury, methodical in her hate. I pressed charges, unflinching. Mom called, sobbing. You'll ruin her, she'll lose her job. Like she cared about Lily's funeral. Said, hanging up. Casey was fired when the video hit. Fines stacked up, her library gig gone. Last I heard, she's crashing with Mom and Phil, all three floundering without my cash. Some might call it harsh, I don't. At Lily's grave, her stone etched with ducks, I hear Casey's, glad your kid's dead. See Mom's party excuse and know I chose right. Ever think of forgiving them? Dr. Kim asked last session. Spring sun filtering through blooming branches outside. They're not family, I said, steady. Family doesn't do that. I'm rebuilding day by day. Lily taught me love that outlasts loss. Casey taught me hate that devours. My house hums with her memory. Photos of her giggles, her duck drawings on the fridge. And I'm at peace knowing some bridges stay ashes. Honoring her meant cutting out those who dishonored her. And I carry her light forward, unshackled. Hey, if this hit you like it hit me, and I know it's a lot, subscribe now. More stories of loss, fight, and healing are coming, and I'd love you with me. What would you have done? Cut them off? Tried to mend it? Drop it in the comments. I'm dying to hear. See you next time.